My name is Jennifer, and I'm 30 years old. I have been married for 5 years to my husband Jose, who is 2 years older than me. We are both working and we don't have any children yet, but we are living happily together. However, recently Jose has been acting strange. Maybe it's because we are both busy and have no time for each other, but his words are always harsh and prickly.
Hey, aren't you slacking off on the housework lately?
I don't think so.
Really? To me, it seems like you are just cutting corners and being lazy.
That's not true. It's a busy time right now, so it can't be helped if some things are left undone.
You didn't make excuses like that when we were newlyweds. You used to do everything properly. I never thought you would be the kind of woman who uses work as an excuse. Your work is not even that important, right? The work you can do is limited anyway.
I have things I want to say to him too. Jose has been working overtime and on weekends a lot, and he is hardly ever at home. He leaves earlier than me in the morning and comes back late at night. Of course, our time for conversation and meals together has decreased. I know he is busy, but isn't he working too much? Maybe he is stressed out and takes it out on me for every little thing. Now, we end up having these small fights every time we see each other. I was genuinely worried about Jose. Hey, aren't you working too hard? You should take a break sometimes.
What? What are you talking about? You have no right to tell me anything about my work. Just leave me alone.
Jose raised his voice and quickly retreated to his room. He ended the conversation abruptly, as if he didn't want me to touch on his work. And I was bothered by the sweet perfume that wafted from his suit when we passed each other. It was not Jose's taste, and it seemed like the scent of a woman. I couldn't help but doubt Jose. But maybe I was just imagining things. Maybe we could talk calmly when his work settled down. I had that faint hope. But the discord between us as a couple only deepened day by day. One day, on my way home from work, I was hit by a car that ran a red light and was sent flying. I don't remember much of what happened, but it seems that a passerby called an ambulance and I was taken to the hospital right away. Thankfully, I didn't have any life-threatening injuries, but I had bruises and fractures that would take 2 months to heal. I had to stay in the hospital for a while, so I had to ask Jose to bring me some clothes and other things I needed for my stay. But we hadn't been talking much lately. He would ignore me whenever I tried to talk to him. I was feeling depressed, but he was the only one I could rely on in this situation. I gathered my courage and called Jose. But he didn't answer the phone. I kept calling him persistently, and he finally picked up.
What do you want? Stop calling me so many times. You're annoying. I'm busy with work. Can't you understand that?
He yelled at me as soon as he answered. But I couldn't back down. This was an emergency. Listen, I had an accident and I was hit by a car. I have to stay in the hospital for a while, so I need you to bring me some clothes and other things. Please. I told him in a serious tone, but what he said next was unbelievable.
What? You're in the hospital because of an accident? That's your own fault, isn't it? Deal with it yourself. Don't ask me for anything. I'm busy, so don't contact me for a while.
What? Wait.
Hey, Jose. Are you done with the phone?
Yeah, sorry. I'm done. Jeez, what a stupid woman.
He hung up before I could say anything. I was stunned. Why? He didn't care that his wife had an accident? He refused to help me with my hospital stay, and he didn't even ask how I was. He just yelled at me and hung up. And I heard a sweet voice of a woman just before he hung up. My doubt turned into certainty, and my heart sank. At the same time, a flame of anger rose in me. Fine. If that's how he wants it, I have my own plans. I'll make him regret what he did to me. But first, I have to heal my injuries. I decided to do that, but the punishment for Jose came sooner than I could do anything.
Your husband died in an accident.
What? Why are you suddenly saying that?
One day, I received shocking news over the phone from my best friend. I rushed to Jose's side, not because I was worried. It was because if he died, I wouldn't be able to directly administer my own form of justice. Even if it was divine retribution, I wanted to deliver it with my own hands. As I made my way to Jose, I reflected on the events that had led me to this day. First, the day when Jose refused to help me prepare for my hospital stay. I contacted my mother, the person I could rely on after Jose. Hello, Mom. Actually, I was in an accident.
Accident? Are you okay? Any injuries?
My mother, speaking over the phone, sounded worried and flustered when I told her about the accident. Her reaction was the complete opposite of Jose's coldness. After asking my mother to prepare for my hospital stay, I lay down on the bed and waited for her arrival. It was a relief that I had given her a spare key to our house. In times like this, I could rely on her. But honestly, if Jose had listened to my request, I wouldn't have needed her help in the first place. As I suppressed my anger and waited for my mother, time seemed to pass quickly. Eventually, the hospital room door swung open.
Jennifer! Are you okay? I was so surprised.
Ah, Mom. My mother had arrived just in time for visiting hours, carrying bags and out of breath.
I brought everything you mentioned on the phone. I'll leave them here.
Thank you, Mom. I really appreciate it.
It's okay. I live nearby.
She looked at me on the bed with a pained expression.
Hey, is what you said on the phone true? You asked Jose to help with your hospital stay, but he refused so harshly.
Yeah.
Jose still hasn't come back, but is he just busy with work?
Probably. But I think it's more than that.
Huh?
I think Jose is cheating on me. I confessed to my mother, who widened her eyes and looked down.
So it was true.
Huh? Do you know something, Mom? My mother averted her gaze. She seemed to be hesitating whether to tell me or not. I was honestly scared. Even though I was sure, I didn't want to face Jose's betrayal. But I couldn't look away. There was a flame of anger burning inside me. I was going to make things clear with Jose. In other words, I was going to fight him. For that, I wanted as much material as possible to make the situation favorable for me. Mom, I'm ready. If you know something, please tell me. My mother seemed to make up her mind and opened her mouth.
I'm sorry. I thought it might be a mistake. But I couldn't tell you because I thought it might hurt you if it was true. I saw it the other day at the station. Jose was walking arm in arm with a woman, looking cozy.
I understood what my mother meant. Oh, so that's how it was. That's how it was. Thank you, Mom. Thank you for telling me.
Jennifer. I'm on your side, Jennifer. I'll help you anytime, so if you have any trouble, contact me right away.
Okay. Thank you, Mom. I nodded at my mother's strong words. It was really reassuring to have an ally who would never betray me. That's how the first day of my hospitalization passed. The next day, I received explanations from the doctor about my injuries and hospital life, and I was also questioned by the police a little about the accident. Ideally, Jose would have been there with me to listen to the talk, but given the current situation of our marriage, I couldn't expect that. I had to do everything related to my hospital life by myself. I still had some days before I started rehabilitation, so I spent my time watching TV or reading books in bed. My boss and colleagues also came to visit me, and I felt sorry for them and asked them to take care of the work I left behind.
Forget about work for now, and rest well. You've been working hard lately.
I smiled wryly at what my boss said. A few days later, the person I had secretly been waiting for came to visit me.
Jennifer. I came to see you. I can't believe our reunion after so long is at the hospital.
Oh, Laura, you have to be quiet at the hospital.
Yes. You're still so serious, Jennifer. You have to relax a little or your injury won't heal well, right?
The one who knocked on the door of the ward with a sweet voice was my best friend Laura. We had been friends since elementary school, and we lived in the same neighborhood and played together all the time. We stayed friends through middle school and high school, and even though we parted ways in college, we started seeing each other again after we became adults. Actually, the reason I met Jose was because Laura introduced him to me. I was more of a serious person, and Laura was easygoing and good at acting cute. Our personalities were completely opposite, but we somehow got along and stayed together. But that's why I realized it. When I called Jose, the sweet voice that came from his call was hers.
Here, this is for you. I didn't know what you would like, so I asked the store clerk.
Laura put the gift on the side table. I pretended not to notice anything and asked her. Laura, did you take a day off from work to come see me?
Huh? Oh, yeah. It's a big deal for my best friend. I wanted to come right away, but my boss was nagging me about the deadline and I couldn't come until now.
Laura said with a grin. We continued to chat about trivial things. I smelled a sweet perfume from Laura. Yes, it was the same smell that I had smelled from Jose's suit before. Let me be clear, I suspected the relationship between Laura and Jose. No, I was already convinced. Jose was cheating on me with Laura. They were hiding it, but I had known for a long time that Jose and Laura had dated in college. It was when we were newlyweds. I was cleaning Jose's room and I happened to find some photos of them. They looked very close in the photos, and there were many of them. I remembered when Laura introduced Jose to me.
He said he was interested in you when I told him you were my best friend. Why don't you give him a try?
That's how she introduced him to me. I heard that Laura and Jose had met in college and were friends. I pretended not to see the photos I found. Maybe they had dated in the past. But Jose is married to me now. I was bothered by the fact that he had so many photos, but maybe he just kept them as memories or forgot to throw them away. Maybe he didn't tell me about their relationship because he didn't want to hurt me. That's how I convinced myself and left Jose's room. But now that I think about it, the photos were not hidden, they were in plain sight. If he cared about me, he would have hidden them better. Why didn't I confront him then? I regret it now. I dragged this problem on until I was sure. The woman my mother saw with Jose was also Laura. My mother knew Laura since she was a child. She hadn't seen her since she grew up, but she would recognize Laura's grown-up face. That's why my mother hesitated. She didn't want to tell me about my best friend's betrayal. I looked at my friend in front of me. Laura, do you know what I'm thinking right now? How I'm going to make you and Jose pay. How I'm going to make you regret it. That's all I'm thinking about. Laura was oblivious to my feelings and kept talking cheerfully.
You know, I'm going on a trip soon. I'll bring you a souvenir when I come to visit you again.
She said that and left. Knowing my best friend's betrayal, the flame of anger in me grew even bigger. And I knew it was a bad move, but I called Jose. Maybe I wanted to vent my anger at him. I rushed into it without any preparation. But I couldn't stop myself. I didn't know I was such an emotional person. Surprisingly, Jose answered right away.
What do you want? I told you not to contact me. Well, whatever. I have something to tell you anyway. I'm leaving the house for a trip tomorrow. Well, I don't think you'll be back yet, but just in case. So don't contact me anymore. I don't want you to ruin my trip.
Weren't you busy with work?
Ha! Oh, yeah, I finished a milestone. You should know that without me telling you. Well, see you.
You're going with Laura, right? A cheating trip, right?
What?
I calmly answered that, and Jose paused and let out a dumbfounded voice. I pressed on. Laura. My best friend Laura. You're cheating on me, aren't you? Laura is your lover, isn't she? It's no use hiding it. I know everything. At my words, Jose.
Ah, damn it!
He raised his voice in frustration.
If you know, then fine. Yeah, I'm cheating on you with Laura. She's much better than you, who are uptight and have no charm. She knows how to please a man and make him feel good. Ah, damn it. It was a mistake to marry you. I shouldn't have broken up with Laura over a stupid fight.
So you two were dating after all.
Yeah, you didn't even notice that, did you? Even though your husband and your best friend are cheating on you, you've been watching my face all the time and didn't notice anything. That's hilarious. How dull are you?
He laughed mockingly. What an unpleasant laugh. I didn't say anything back and just listened to his sneering voice.
Well, don't worry. I'll divorce you properly when I get back from the trip. I want to be with Laura for real soon. Get the divorce papers ready and wait for me. Oh, you can't do that while you're in the hospital, can you? Ha ha ha.
He laughed vulgarly and hung up the phone. I checked my cell phone. The conversation with Jose was recorded. This would surely be a material to make the situation favorable for me. I sighed with relief. This would surely let Laura know that I knew everything. The real battle would begin when they came back from the trip. But the day of fate came sooner than I thought. A few days after Jose and Laura left for their trip, I got a phone call from Laura. Had they already returned from their trip? And why would she call me? I was puzzled as I answered the phone, and a shocking word came to my ear.
Jennifer. Jose is.
What? Laura, calm down.
He died in an accident. He's dead. His whole body was smashed.
What? What are you talking about? Jose is on a trip with you.
Well, that's true, but...
I was confused by her words that made no sense. I tried to get some information from Laura, who was sobbing on the phone, and this is what I learned. They were supposed to finish their trip today and go home. They got into an accident on their way home. Someone nearby called an ambulance for them and they were taken to the hospital. But
Jose was hit by a car and flew away. There was so much blood, and his arms and legs were bent in weird directions, and he didn't answer me no matter how much I called him. What should I do, Jennifer?
I listened to Laura's words calmly. I was more calm than I thought. Maybe it's because I don't have any feelings for Jose or my best friend anymore. Maybe I even thought it was divine punishment. And when I heard more, I found out that Jose was taken to the same hospital where I was hospitalized. I hurried to Jose's side with a crutch. I couldn't forgive him for dying on his own. I had to deliver the final blow myself. I explained the situation to a nurse nearby, and she panicked and contacted someone and accompanied me to the front of the operating room. Jose was still alive. He was seriously injured and still in surgery, but he was alive. Laura, who came with him in the ambulance, was slumped in the hallway in front of the operating room. She seemed to have lost her strength. And when she saw me, she started crying loudly.
Oh. I'm glad. I was scared.
I looked down at my best friend who was crying like a child with cold eyes. In the past, it was my job to comfort Laura when she cried. But now I don't feel like getting involved with Laura anymore. I silently left the scene and returned to my room. And the story of how Jose had an accident on his way back from a trip with his mistress spread quickly among the gossip-loving nurses. According to the information from the nurses, Jose was sure to have some after-effects from the accident. I decided to wait until Jose recovered enough to talk. I also informed Jose's parents that he had an accident. When they learned of Jose's affair, they spat out that it was his own fault. I calmly prepared for the divorce with the help of my mother. And finally, the day arrived. The discussion had been arranged through my mother. The location was the hospital room where Jose was staying. With renewed determination, I tried to enter the room along with my mother and in-laws. However, from inside, I heard the heated voices of a man and a woman arguing.
See, if you hadn't suggested going on that trip in the first place, none of this would have happened. It's all your fault. Take responsibility. You're a jinx.
What? Don't blame this on me. Jose wasn't paying attention ahead of us at that time, right? It's not my fault for your lack of situational awareness. Besides, I've contributed most of the travel expenses. If you're going to say that, then repay all the money I've spent so far.
What are you talking about? You're the one who voluntarily spent that money. I never asked for it. You should be the one paying for hospital bills and any future expenses.
I was utterly exasperated. Even in this situation, they were still pointing fingers at each other. I deliberately made a loud noise as I swung open the door to the hospital room. Jose, securely fastened to the bed, and Laura next to him both looked startled.
Oh, Jennifer! Wait a minute! It's all Laura's fault, so she should take responsibility.
What? Don't blame me. Besides, Jennifer is my best friend, so obviously, she's on my side, right?
Ignoring their argument, I tossed the divorce papers onto the bed. Could you sign this quickly?
Ha! Jennifer?
Well, maybe not in your current condition. Don't worry. Apparently, proxy signatures are valid if both parties agree to the divorce.
Wait a second. I can't just...
Huh? Didn't I tell you to prepare for the divorce papers? I've got them ready.
Well, that's... I regret the affair. But even in this situation, I realize I still need you. I still love you the most. So...
Is that so? After everything you've said? I played back the recorded conversation from our usual phone calls. Jose's hurtful words filled the hospital room. He probably never thought he was being recorded. His eyes widened. As I turned up the volume, the gossip-loving nurse peeked in from the open door.
Stop it! Stop!
The playback ended just as Jose shouted, leaving me catching my breath. Did you think I still want to be with you after being told such things? You were the one who brought up divorce in the first place. Even if you say you need me or love me, it's too late now. You just want me to take care of you in the future, don't you? I don't want that at all. I've had enough of you a long time ago. The only thing I can give you from me is this divorce paper. This is it. I snapped at Jose, and he groaned in frustration. Then my in-laws came out from behind me and started scolding Jose.
You stupid son! What do you think Jennifer is? She's not your convenient toy. You even cheated on her. How dare you? You have nothing left to do but agree to the divorce and let Jennifer go free. Sign the divorce papers now. I'll write your name for you.
That's right. I can't believe you cheated on her. How disgusting! How filthy! I raised you wrong. Don't bother Jennifer anymore. You're so stubborn.
But, Dad, Mom, aren't you on my side?
There's no one on your side here.
That's right. And you know what? Your excuse of being busy was a lie too. When I told your company that you were hospitalized, your boss told me that you haven't been focused on your work lately and that you've been taking a lot of paid and sick leave. You were skipping work for your affair, weren't you? I explained everything to your boss, so don't worry.
What did you say to him?
Oh, is that wrong? Then why don't you correct it yourself? I said that and Jose bit his lip. My guess was right. His work was a lie, and he was working hard on his affair, not his job. I was really disgusted. I looked at Laura. She flinched when she met my gaze, and tried to open her trembling lips. Then the people who were waiting for her appeared in the ward.
Laura, you've done something terrible.
Huh? Dad, Mom.
Thank you for coming.
It's okay. Jennifer, thank you for letting us know.
We'll take care of Laura. So Jennifer, please get the divorce papers.
Wait a minute. Why? Listen to my side too.
They were Laura's parents. Of course, they have also been friends with me since childhood. I was the one who called them here. Laura was dragged to the corner of the ward, and the lecture began. I looked at Jose again. If you still refuse to agree to a divorce, I'm prepared to sue you. What will you do?
What? A lawsuit?
Stop mumbling and make up your mind. My shout made Jose slump down.
I get it.
He said in a weak voice. His name was written on the divorce papers by his father. He had good handwriting. Oh, by the way, I'll also claim damages from you. And from Laura, of course. My final words made Jose and Laura scream. My divorce from Jose was successfully settled, and we became strangers. Jose became paralyzed from the waist down due to the after-effects of the accident, and he had to quit his job. He was disowned by his parents for his affair, and he had no prospects for his future after leaving the hospital. To make matters worse, the rumors of his affair and accident spread in the hospital, and he was stared at by the curious nurses and the cold-eyed nurses who knew about the commotion in his room. His hospital stay was still ongoing, but he was in a terrible situation. My former best friend Laura was also disowned by her parents. Apparently, she had embezzled money from her company for her affair with Jose, and she was fired. The damages I claimed from them were paid in a lump sum by their parents. In other words, they both owed money to their parents. When I was discharged, they called me several times begging for help, but I ignored them and blocked their calls. They had nothing to do with me anymore. They brought it all on themselves. I moved out of the house I had been living in and moved to a new place. It was a high-rise apartment that I had always dreamed of. I didn't have to worry about Jose's mood anymore. I decided to live my life to the fullest for myself.
How did you like this story? Please subscribe to my channel as well. See you in the next video.